The Tinderella Syndrome, flirting without the intention of committing. Living in the digital era of the 21st century has introduced a series of new social dynamics, including the phenomenon of the Tinderella Syndrome, a term that merges the world of dating apps, represented by Tinder, with the imagery of the Cinderella fairy tale. This syndrome manifests in individuals who engage in flirting on virtual platforms without any intention of committing to a real relationship. Modern psychology has been committed to exploring and understanding this complex dynamic that reflects the challenges and opportunities of relationships in the digital age. Contemporary society, thanks to the wide range of dating apps available, provides fertile ground for human interactions, but also a new space for seemingly contradictory behaviors. The Tinderella syndrome emerges as a phenomenon that deviates from traditional expectations related to courtship and commitment dynamics. It is important to consider that this is neither a condemnation nor an approval, but rather a complex social phenomenon that requires in-depth analysis. The abundance of options provided by dating apps allows individuals to select and compare potential partners in ways previously unthinkable. The desire to find the perfect partner combines with the ability to separate love and sex, allowing users to engage in an initial stage of flirting without necessarily seeking a lasting relationship. This new approach offers benefits and challenges, fueling the search for a meaningful connection but also allowing room for superficial behaviors. The Tinderella Syndrome, as described by psychologists like Jenny Stallard and Emma Kenny, manifests through specific behaviors. Some individuals engage in online flirting without ever materializing a physical meeting, enjoying the initial stage of excitement and shared interests. This behavior may be associated with a lack of social skills in the offline environment, where virtual interaction provides a form of comfort and control. A notable aspect of the syndrome is the tendency of Tinder men to flirt with multiple people simultaneously, constantly seeking new options. This behavior may reflect a kind of novelty addiction and a lack of commitment, creating a cycle of ephemeral and discontinuous flirting. The search and selection of potential partners through apps can be more stimulating than real-life encounters, but can also create unrealistic expectations. Love in the time of Tinder presents unique challenges, such as ghost relationships that develop online without ever materializing in real life. People involved in such relationships may experience intense pain due to high expectations, despite the absence of tangible commitment. This form of ghosting not only affects the victim but also highlights the psychological challenges of individuals affected by the Tinderella syndrome, often characterized by indecision and insecurity. The Tinderella syndrome represents a modern reality that reflects the complexity of relational dynamics in the digital age. Addressing this issue requires careful analysis of individual motivations, psychological challenges, and social consequences. The search for love and meaningful connections through dating apps presents opportunities but also risks, and fully understanding this reality requires an interdisciplinary approach involving psychology, sociology, and anthropology. The practice of commitment-free flirting on digital platforms like Tinder raises significant questions about interpersonal dynamics in contemporary society. The advent of dating apps has amplified connection possibilities but has also introduced new challenges in defining and managing relationships. The Tinderella syndrome reflects a desire for immediate gratification and avoiding the constraints of commitment, contributing to a culture of shallowness and a distorted conception of love and relationships. Furthermore, the trend of ghosting and disappearing without explanations represents a problematic communicative phenomenon. This lack of closure can have negative impacts on the mental health and emotional well-being of those involved. Virtual communication, while offering unprecedented convenience, can also lead to a decrease in the quality of communication, as the ease of disappearing can encourage irresponsible behaviors. Another aspect to consider is the effect of this syndrome on romantic expectations and the perception of love. Individuals involved in the Tinderella syndrome may perpetuate unrealistic romantic ideals, based on digital interaction that often lacks the complexity of real life. This can contribute to growing disillusionment in the realm of relationships, with individuals becoming increasingly cynical about the possibilities of finding meaningful connections. The Tinderella Syndrome also highlights the challenges associated with managing emotions and expectations in online relationships. Physical distance and the absence of face-to-face interactions can lead to a kind of emotional disconnection, where people feel less bound to respect the emotions of others. This virtual dehumanization can have long-term impacts on the ability to form genuine and meaningful connections. In conclusion, the Tinderella syndrome is a complex phenomenon that goes beyond the simple act of commitment-free flirting. It represents a challenge to our understanding of relational dynamics in the digital era, prompting us to reflect on how we use technology to build human connections. Addressing this syndrome requires a holistic approach that considers not only individual aspects, but also social and cultural ones, thus contributing to shaping a future where online relationships can be more meaningful and satisfying. I bid farewell, thanking you very much for your comments and testimonials. I invite you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and leave your comment. As you know, I always read them and respond to everyone with pleasure.